Yes, people, what is going on? Hope you are all good. We are back for some more World Cup content, and today we're going to be talking about the teams that are really not turning up at this tournament so far. Particularly in the last couple of days, there's been some shocking results for a couple of the big sides and a couple of the smaller ones getting really good results for themselves. Of course, I'm joined by Cameron Duggan, who is going to help me go through all of these. Cameron, how are we?
I'm all good, Ian. I've been enjoying this World Cup. I've been enjoying the shocks so far. I've been enjoying those little nations getting big results. I've been enjoying all the goals, but since this video is who's flopping at the World Cup, I think we should start with a team that we predicted would actually do quite well, even, you know, potentially topping their group, and they've been knocked out already, bottom of the group, and that is Turkey.
Turkey are awful, mate. Like, every time I end up going into a tournament, right? Every time there's a tournament, it was the last World Cup, it was Euro 2024, and now it's this World Cup as well. And every single time, someone has an idea, hey, Turkey aren't bad, Turkey aren't bad, Turkey aren't bad. And for the third tournament in a row, I've brought into it, and they are absolutely poop. I know they've got the attacking talent, but they clearly just can't get the ball to them. I mean, I've got to be honest, Turkish football, we know about the quality of it. We know about the size and the scale of some of the massive teams that play in the Turkish league. Fenerbahce, Galatasaray, Besiktas, take your pick of any of them. Other big teams, of course, as well. And you think with a couple of players playing across Europe and other places, they'd be all right. But I mean, has Turkish football just fallen off a cliff? Because they cannot get a result for love nor money. They got well beaten by Australia. I know it was only 2-0, but I mean, again, Australia looked like they were really calm with that result. You know, looked really, really easy for them. And then the Paraguay result, who again, I still think Paraguay are all right. I think they've got attacking talent. But Turkey, a nation of that size and that footballing history, should be doing more in a World Cup. And they have already bottled it, completely bottled it.
Yeah, like, well, again, like, the players that they have at their disposal, you're really thinking how they're not doing as good as they should be. Like, Arda Güler, one of the best young talents at Real Madrid, and, you know, he scored in Champions League semi-final this year against Bayern, and, quarterfinals against Bayern. And it was like, okay, well, how can someone like that not be able to perform here? And it's like, they've got Yildiz, another young attacking player from Juventus who's highly sought after. They've got the experience of Çalhanoğlu as well. They've got Yilmaz as well. Like, again, good player, Kadioglu from Brighton, who I think was their player.
But they just can't get it together, though, can they?
But it's like, it's not like they're not trying. Like, they've had, I think it's the most shots in this World Cup without scoring a goal. So something's just not gone right. Maybe they're just unlucky that they haven't found the back of the net. But at the end of the day, who they've played at, Australia, as much as we like them all, they are not the best footballing nation. They got found out against USA then in their second game. Paraguay were beaten comfortably in that first game by USA. We saw more of what they could do in this game against Turkey, where, okay, yes, they scored very early on in the game, but there's like, defensively they were sound, even with 10 men for 45 minutes. I was like, just for some reason, Turkey just could not, for the life of them, score a goal. And it's like, I do think it's more unlucky than them, you know, not being great, because, you know, the amount of shots they've had, they surely you'd put one away. But it's just, you know, one of those ones where, again, it's like you think, oh, Turkey, yeah, they could be all right. Yeah, they've actually got good players. No, doesn't matter in a World Cup. Does not. The World Cup doesn't care who you've got, what form you've got into it. If you don't perform in the opening two games, you're gone. Simple as that.
And I think, you know, the big thing is, realistically, looking at this Turkey team, again, I think you can turn around and say that they are unlucky, but I mean, this is the third tournament in a row for me. I mean, like, I feel so let down, and I just think they're lacking quality. I think they're lacking ability. I think they're actually lacking tactical insight as well, maybe. I think maybe sometimes the game management is just not where it needs to be. But yes, 100% Turkey, the first nation that we need to mention here, because, I mean, I thought, and I think many people had them to top that group. I mean, I actually wanted Paraguay to top that group. So I'm still quite happy that could, very unlikely, but could still happen. Oh, no, it can't actually. No,
because it's all on head-to-head now, so USA are pretty much guaranteed to be top at this point.
God, they're not going to shut up about that. Anyway, different matter. We will move on. They're probably going to say that they've got the LeBron James, the Giannis, the Kobe Bryant. They've got all of them of soccer at the moment. But regardless, we're going to move forward away from that group. We're going to go into the one of the next games that I want to talk about. I can't remember even what group and what order I've got them written down in, but one of the ones that really sparks out to me is how poor Ecuador are. Ecuador are so naff. Like, Enner Valencia, one of my favourite all-time World Cup ballers, right? Manages to score goals constantly. Where has he been? Because, I mean, even the game the other night against Curacao, I only stayed up until the hydration break in the first half. So I watched 20 minutes and I thought I'd see a goal, right? I genuinely did. But 2 minutes in, 3 minutes in, you've got Enner Valencia, long ball over the top from Caicedo, gets in behind and just hits it straight at the goalkeeper. And that was the moment I decided, I'm going to go to bed at the hydration break, because I thought if you can't score that, even a decent attempt, it was straight at the goalkeeper, but a decent attempt at that, if you can't get that right, they are just so lacking of quality. And I know the reason why they qualified for this World Cup. Correct me if I'm wrong here. Did they only concede 5 goals, I think it was, and scored about 13, 14?
Yeah, so they had the best defence in South American qualifying, which is what we had touched on quite a bit, previewing.
Which is still impressive. It's still really impressive, but they just cannot find the quality elsewhere on the pitch.
No,
and clearly, even in this now, they're struggling to get out of their own half, really.
Yeah, it's very much a case of they've got world-class defenders, but unfortunately, I think age is now starting to catch up with him like that. I know exactly what chance you were talking about earlier, and it was just a case of Enner Valencia 4 years ago, he sticks that in the corner without thinking. Now, okay, brilliant chance to take the lead, and it still just wasn't going. But, I mean, in that game, though, the keeper had a blinder. Again, it's one of those ones where, again, like Turkey, Ecuador haven't scored a goal yet. Not for the lack of trying. Like, I think they've had 37 attempts, I think, or a number around that when I saw the stat, and it was like they still haven't scored either. Turkey had more than 50 as they hadn't scored, who were the ones like that. But it's like, again, it's not from them not trying. Like in the Ivory Coast game, they were unlucky because it was just a very late winner. You're thinking, all right, we'll get a point out of that, fine, maybe we can go into this Curacao game a bit more, Curacao game's like, okay, we can calm it down a bit. We can take our time to score a goal. But in this game, like, hang on, we're on 0 points. We know we played Germany in the last game. We need to win now, just to give 100%. Ourselves a chance. And because they didn't do that, they're only on a point now. And you're asking to go and play Germany, who beat Curacao 7-1, who then beat a very good Ivory Coast team 2-1, albeit they weren't the best in the first half, and they needed the substitutions.
No, but they came from behind.
Exactly, they came from behind. They got the job done in the end with 2 fantastic goals, and they're still proven. Germany is still here to be, they're not to be messed with. And it's like now
I still call them a dark horse, and I still stand by they're going to be the dark horse of this tournament. I think they're a really good team, that Germany team.
Yeah, around a 32 exit incoming.
No, 100%. I'll see you in the latter rounds, mate. I don't want to say that as an England fan, but I will. But coming back onto Ecuador, the game where they drew 0-0 with Curacao, there is a reason for why they drew 0-0 with Curacao. Because yes, they should have taken the chances. They had a lot of attempts. I can't remember the number exactly. What did you say it was that they have?
They've had
how many attempts they had in the game?
Not in the game at the tournament. I think they've had 37. But I can
37 in the whole tournament, which does still help me put into context the performance of one man. And the reason why I'm wearing a Vitesse Arnhem goalkeeping shirt, because Eloy Room, the goalkeeper for Curacao, started at Vitesse. I'm over the moon about that. He made 15 saves in the game. 15 saves. So you can turn around, and I know we can point this on. Actually, we're saying about Turkey, we're saying about Ecuador, we're going to mention other teams as well. We can say about how those teams have flopped, but we do have to give praise. The same way we did in that first week when, of course, Cape Verde and Spain managed to draw 0-0. We'll come on to Cape Verde in a little bit. But Cape Verde and Spain to draw 0-0 was an incredible result. Again, for Curacao to get a point at this World Cup is absolutely immense. And Eloy Room, the goalkeeper, really needs to be given some praise, as well as many other players on that team as well. But 15 saves, absolutely incredible. It's the second most ever saved in a single game at the World Cup, with the first most being Tim Howard, but it was in a knockout game, which meant they went to extra time. And he had 16.
And that was
Eloy Room has 15.
I want to say that was against Belgium as well. I think I remember watching that game.
Not a clue. Not a clue off the top of my head.
I'm
but
sure
still,
it was.
16 including extra time, then to go and get 15 from Eloy Room in normal time is absolutely mental. I mean, it's the sort of goalkeeping performance for the ages. Like it's great. Again, same thing with Vecina as well in the first game. Very, very good to see someone else getting their flowers and really, really doing well. Okay, it's not against Spain, so it's not going to get the hype, but 15 saves against Ecuador is still absolutely really impressive. But Ecuador are still failing at this World Cup, 100%. I think we should go in. Should we go into Cape Verde? Let's go into Cape Verde.
We'll have a little minute about them. I think, well, again, they've been the shock of the tournament so far. It's been really good to see because I think, right, first game against Spain, reigning European champions. Okay, they had Lamar not on the pitch for the first part, and then Williams wasn't there. Like, they're two star players in that tournament. And you're thinking, right, the quality of Spain anyway should be enough to beat little old Cape Verde. Yeah, no, we were all wrong. Brilliant performance, brilliant goalkeeping performance. Even they could have nicked it at the end as well with a corner. And it was like, you know, brilliant. But then we saw them yesterday against Uruguay. Yes. They took the lead from 30-plus yard free kick. You're thinking, oh my God, they're here. Yeah. Like, this
the
great.
Pina screamer, the Pina to go 1-0 up was an absolute screamer. He had no right to shoot from that distance. And let's not lie to ourselves, it's not a great goal. The wall really needs to do its job. But
it's a two-man wall split, and the keeper was too far over on one side to get back across because the strike wasn't the quickest. It really wasn't.
But
like,
I'm going to throw this out there. I'm going to throw this out there, Cameron. I'm going to interrupt you because I do think it's something that maybe needs to be discussed. It's a 35-yard free kick that's gone into the bottom corner. Yes, the wall needs to do better and the goalkeeper's in the wrong point. 100% agree. But is this not goal of the tournament so far?
It could be. I
think it is. I don't think there's a really obvious one like that trumps it massively. The only one that was coming to my mind was Mbappe against Senegal. But again, if you look at
that was a great goal.
I don't think it's that good of a goal. And I think that this is probably better. I mean, to drill it like he did, I think there's more skill involved in it. And even then, I still think he got it wrong. But, I mean, it's a 35-yard screamer that has gone into the bottom corner. You know, a free kick from a dead ball scenario. I think it might be goal of the tournament. We've had the goalkeeping performance of the tournament come from Curacao. And now we're talking about one of the goals of the tournament coming from Curacao, which is mental. Of course, they then go and get the equaliser later on in the game. That goal is nowhere near as impressive. But spinning this back round to Uruguay, the team in this game that has flopped. I mean, again, you look at their two results that they've had. Saudi Arabia drew. Cape Verde drew. I remember us making a video before we started the whole World Cup, Cameron, saying that when it comes to the last game of the match day, those two are going to be fighting for who wins the group. That realistically is still going to be what happens. But Uruguay now have not got the ability to go and nick a draw and go, get in, we're going to win the group on goal difference. They have to go and win this now because they've dropped two massive games. And to be completely honest, I really don't think they look that good. I know they're, you know, the better of the sides that are in that group. But again, I don't think that they're good in any way, shape or form. I think they're the sort of team that goes through to the round of 32 and then gets knocked out. But again, Uruguay have the standard and the stature that they have and the pride that they have. They should be doing more. And you could see even when they got the goal, I can't remember the lad's name who scored, but he did the Suarez, the kissing of the fingers and then pointed up to him. I think they are so aware, Uruguay, that they are so without a goal scorer. Yeah. That's why, you know, I mean, obviously there's no Cavani, no Suarez as they've had in years gone by. I just think this team has really fallen off a cliff, and I think they're actually surprised with how much it's fallen off a cliff, especially when it's coached by Marcelo Bielsa.
Yeah, like obviously we know Bielsa in the Premier League, and he is a good coach. Like he plays attacking football. He always wants to go for it. But yeah, it's correct where you're saying it right. They don't have a goal scorer anymore. Like even you mentioned Suarez Cavani. Even before that, you had Diego Forlan in 2010, where I think they finished, or they got to the third place game. I can't remember if they finished third or fourth or not. But it's like without them, obviously now it's Darwin Núñez, who really should be the starter forward. He hasn't scored for a couple of years for Uruguay before this tournament, and it's like he had a bad season at Al Hilal. It's like if he was still at Liverpool, maybe it was slightly different. And it's like there's a reason why he's going into the summer as a free agent. Like so they don't want him anymore in Saudi Arabia. So it's like
I've heard Chelsea's name mentioned with him, and I'm not in. I'm not in at all.
He's a free transfer. If he's great, amazing. If he flops, well, we signed him on a free. That's how you're going to look at this one if you do get him. But yeah, it's a case.
I'm not going to look at it like that. Not a chance.
He's better than probably some of your attacking options anyway right now. So
that's not difficult, but still, he's not a Premier League winner. Even you'd agree with that. He is, but he isn't. You know what I mean? Anyway, enough about knowing.
But yeah, Uruguay are flopping.
Uruguay.
They're going into the last game. Similar situation to Ecuador, where they should have had their job done by now. But now
100%.
They've got to try and really get a win against Spain to make sure they go through. Because a draw, 3 points and a 0 goal difference would probably still be enough. But
yeah,
at the moment, Cape Verde could leapfrog them if they beat Saudi Arabia on the last day to go into 5 points.
There's part of me, I actually think I'm going to watch that Saudi Arabia Cape Verde game rather than the Spain Uruguay, because of course both kicking off at the same time, so they won't know who wins whatever result. So I actually think that Cape Verde Saudi game is going to be really quite tasty. But the last one I want to go into, the sort of other team that I think is flopping, especially more recently as well, it's Belgium.
Yeah,
Belgium. I just can't put my finger on it. The one thing I do want to mention, because a lot of people are talking about it online, Doku going home for the birth of his child. I mean, there's a lot of people that are in outrage about Doku going home. But for me, I think it's quite obvious. It's the birth of your child. Go home. I think if this was in the Euros and he was going from Germany back to Belgium, no one would bat an eyelid. But because it's the World Cup, everyone goes, oh, I'd kill to be in that position. And you're going like, well, yeah. But I mean, there's also a lot of people around the world that realise that having a child is really important. Funny that, who knew? Been doing it for millennia, but apparently it's now deemed important, but that's a different thing. I think Doku's been given a really sort of, a really harsh reception, I think, by some people for that decision. But with that being said, without him, they looked dreadful.
Yeah, it is a case of, I think Doku's probably getting a lot of stick because he probably is their best player at the moment. Just because the season he's had, like, Lukaku is not the Lukaku of old. De Bruyne is aging. He still has the quality, but he's still not going to be able to pull the strings like he used to. They don't have the defence anymore of Vertonghen and Alderweireld. Courtois is still amazing, and you could probably argue is this their best player alongside Doku. But it's still not the Belgian goal. Like, that golden generation is gone. But they still have the quality of players in there that they really should bet in what is probably one of the easiest groups of the tournament. Egypt, Iran and New Zealand. They really should.
This is the thing. This is the thing that's getting on my wick, is because there's teams that are not good, right? And you go, yeah, well, a couple of the results have gone their way, like they can be all right. But every result in this group should go Belgium's way. I said, and I will use this exact phrase, in a preview that we did on this channel, I said that Belgium would steamroll this group. Steamroll it. And that's how confident the whole world was in Belgium. And now we're in a position, we're not even 100% sure if they qualify. We think they will. But
they should. Who's it they've got left? It's New Zealand, I think, is their next game.
Which, to be fair, New Zealand, from what I've seen, have actually been playing some decent football. They've been playing some decent football that could worry the defensive unit of Belgium. But I mean, again, they should have had this wrapped up. Like, this should have been Belgium of old would have wrapped this up after the first game. But we're now talking with 2 games in, and they haven't even got a real, sign of quality yet. Like, we're sort of waiting for a bit here. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's like, honestly, like, they still dominate the games that they play in, but it's just, there's not a lot going on. Like, they probably could have gotten a couple goals yesterday. I know there's quite a really good few saves from the Iranian goalkeeper. But
of course, and credit is due where it is deserved.
But
100%.
at the same time, like, you should just be scoring goals. Like, I know Lukaku, De Bruyne, we know can score from anywhere, and it's like Trossard, Premier League winner. Even without Doku, like, there's still enough quality in this team to go out and win games. It's just a case of, like, for me, it's like, okay, the golden generation was wasted with Roberto Martinez, and now it's over, 100%. And, they're probably looking at around a 32 exit if they do get through. But then it's like, what I want to link onto this then is, like, Portugal, who, as a recorder, have only played 1 game. I'm now worried, after watching their first game, that Roberto Martinez is going to ruin yet another brilliant international team with all the players who are really good in the right positions.
Yeah.
And they're just going to underperform. Like, obviously, Ronaldo is aging, and he's been like one of the main talking points so far because of stuff going on behind the scenes. But like, the players that Portugal have, there's no reason why they should be winning this tournament. And it's like, I'm afraid for them that they won't.
And we should say before we are recording this before Portugal's second game, so this may look very, very different. They might go and whack someone 15-0 for all we know, but. Again, I do completely agree. I think that this Belgian team is flopping. I think in the end of the day, if you get a draw against Iran, right, or against any nation as Belgium, if it's a score draw, we're not reacting anywhere near as much, right? But the fact that it is a 0-0 and the one area that you seem to have proper quality is going forward, that is seriously, seriously worrying. And I think that, again, I don't rate them as a side. I've got to be honest. But I think that they should, the calibre of players they should have enough to then go and carry them further and further and further on. But this Belgian team, as again, I think Uruguay are poor, I think Belgium are poor, Ecuador, you can see what the logic is, but it's just not working. And then Turkey have just not been anywhere. For me, these are the teams that have flopped the most at the World Cup. Please let us know if you think anyone else. I know there's a couple of other results that have been shocked, but these are the ones that we think of flopping in terms of the standard that we're at. But I mean, Cameron, if I had to say to you now, to finish off this video, if any one of those 4 teams did not qualify for the round of 32, I think mathematically, can Turkey still get in, or are they out
now? Yeah, because
they can't even go through on 3.
They're out.
Fine, so they can't go through as one of the 3rd place teams. Absolutely fine.
Yeah.
So, based on those other 3, then you've got Ecuador, you've got Belgium, you've got Uruguay. Who do you think of those is the one that is like most likely to not qualify at all? I'll throw my shout in there and say I think it's Ecuador, but I don't know where you stand on it.
Sorry.
That's where you stand on it.
Yeah, I stand on hay fever and stuff. No, I stand that all those teams that we talked about, obviously Turkey are out already. I think Belgium's the only one that gets through. Uruguay, I don't see them getting a point against Spain. I think Spain will want to come out in that game and guarantee their spot and get the win.
Yeah, I agree.
Ecuador, they're playing against Germany. Again, they're only on 1 point. They need a win. Have to win. They're not winning. They will not win.
I agree.
So Belgium against New Zealand, they should. They really should win. And if they don't, that will probably be a bigger shock than the rest of them at the moment.
Genuinely, I think if Belgium do go out in the group, I mean, that is, I think, the story, the talking point of the whole World Cup so far, I think. I mean, because that Belgium team, we're not saying they're going to go on and win it, but I mean, if you pulled them out of a sweepstake, you would go, oh, right, I can live with that. Yeah,
or it's like, yeah, I should get, at least quarterfinals. That's fine. I can at least have a bit of fun supporting them. But now you're thinking...
The standard is a lot higher for them. They should be moving on further. They
should have got 9 points in this group, but they didn't. That's the thing.
They should have got 9 points and had about plus 12 goal difference come the end of this group. because Jeremy Doku should have scored probably 5 or 6 himself.
Yeah, Lukaku
but they
should have got a couple. De Bruyne should have, created a few, and it's just a case of, well, it's just not happened for them. And again, it's the World Cup. Everyone wants to be there. Everyone's fighting for their lives, for their country. Like, if you don't want to fight for your country and put in your best performance, you're not going to get through. This is why we've seen Cape Verde do so well, because everyone is literally playing for their country, giving all they can, and they're in a great position going into the last match day to play against the team currently bottom in their group, Saudi Arabia. So, but Belgium again haven't done it. Ecuador have played very good defensively. Again, it was a late goal against Ivory Coast that cost them, and then they didn't really have much defending to do against Curacao, but they couldn't find the back of the net. Uruguay have just been all round poor, but they keep going behind, which I think is their major problem.
Yeah.
And then Turkey, people's underdogs and dark horses. Yeah, they can never have that label again. No, it's a curse for them. It really is a curse for them.
I genuinely think I'm more likely now to put a bet on the fact that Turkey are the first team to get eliminated at every single tournament, rather than they are to go on and be the dark horse. I want to see what the odds are on that, but I'll find out in 2 years' time. Anyway, we're going to round off this video. You're saying that the one that you think is not going to qualify, you think that Belgium is going to be the only one that does.
Only one. Uruguay and Ecuador will go out early, I reckon.
I do probably agree with you. I think if either of the two don't make it, I think that Uruguay might have more of a chance against Spain than I think Ecuador do against Germany, so I'll go for Ecuador. But Cameron, thank you very much for joining me. Thank you very much for watching. If you're new around here, make sure you like, share and subscribe. Switching up the content, talking about the teams that aren't doing well at this tournament so far, but there is a whole lot of games to go. We've got a long way to go in this World Cup, so hopefully that changes. Thank you for watching. Make sure you subscribe around here, and make sure you check out all of our World Cup content.